Hi, this is going to be a EZReports upload using Infinte Campus. This is going to help us build our schools into EZReports quickly and efficiently, pulling all the students that are already enrolled in your school over into Infinte Campus. First thing that you want to do is you want to log into EZReports. The next place that you're going to go is you're going to go to the Upload tab up top, and you want to click on Student Demographics, Short. The short version is going to have everything that we need for our uploads into EZReports that's going to be reported out to PPIX. You click on Download a Blank Template, open it, and it'll pull up your template like this. You'll notice that everything that we want uploaded into EZReports is on the top of our screen. Now, things in red are mandates that have to be done. Things in black won't affect your upload, but some of them do need to be uploaded for PPIX. So if you look back at the end here especially, so ELL, SPED, GT, free and reduced, those all need to be reported out to PPIX, and so those need to be in there. Some of the other ones don't, and so I go ahead and get rid of them just because it makes my upload a little bit easier. So the first thing I get rid of is our registration date, primary language code other, and then parent last name, first name, and cell number. You're going to have the phone number over here as well as the addresses. And then if you're pulling parents, you can pull those off of Infinte Campus, or you can manually enter those. Now we have our spreadsheet that we're going to be using the rest of the time to decide how we're going to set up our Infinte Campus. So once you go to Infinte Campus, you want to log in. And we're going to be using the ad hoc reporting feature. Make sure that when you're doing this that you have significant permissions from your district. Some of the places we're going to be using, not everyone has access to, especially things like free and reduced, special ed status, gifted and talented status. These aren't available to all teachers, so make sure you talk to your technology department and see if they can add you onto that list. So we're going to go to the ad hoc reporting and then click on our filter designer. On the filter designer, we want to set up a new filter. So I want to set up a query wizard, and we're going to be looking at student data. There we go. Come on. Once you've done that, you're going to click create. Now it's going to ask us to give it a name, so we're going to do this as 21st Century Student Upload Demo. Now the places we're going to be pulling our information from are going to come from some different categories. The first one we're going to find information in is demographics. We're going to find a significant amount of information here. We're briefly going to use the school section. We'll be pulling information off of the Learner tab, off of the Census tab, and the last one that we're going to be pulling off of is under the FRAM. Okay, FRAM will be our free and reduced. So the first thing that our spreadsheet wants is it wants our state ID, district ID, last name, middle name, first name, date of birth. All of these can be found under the demographics. So we want our state ID, then we want our district ID, then we want last name, middle name, first name, and date of birth. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to include these just for privacy reasons, but please make sure that you do add these into your ad hoc, because that's going to be how you pull students. So let me move these over. Anytime you want to delete something or you grab the wrong field, just click on it and move it back. So after we would have put on these first 6 tabs, the next thing that we're going to look for is our school code. Now right now there is a school code that every school has, and it can be found in EZReports. The same spot where we got our template, right underneath it, it says list of school codes. This will have all the schools that you currently have a grant for, and it'll list the code that you use beside them. Okay, these are the codes that we're going to need to use, but for my purposes in doing this video, I want to give myself just a placeholder with the school's name. So to do that, I go to school, and then I just go name, and that's going to have our school name. That'll go here. We're going to convert this later. There's a few things we have to convert from Infinte Campus codes to EZReport codes. So we'll get to that, but I'm just right now setting up a placeholder. The next thing that I need is my gender. Gender can be found once again under demographics. I want gender. Then we want to look at our street address, our apartment, our city, our state, our zip, and our phone number. To find all of these, you go back into Infinte Campus, and you're going to go to Census. Under Census, we're going to be using the mailing addresses. And so the first thing that we want is we want our address line 1. Okay. After that, it goes pretty easy. We want the apartment number, the city, the state, and the zip. And then we also want the phone number. That's just set up our street, our apartment, our city, our state, our zip, and the phone number. So now all of these will be in place. The next things that we're going to be looking for are going to be our primary language code. Primary language code is going to be found under your learner, under active enrollment, and we're looking at state reporting elements. So under that, we're going to find language, and that's going to give us our language code. After we've found that, the next thing that we're looking for is our grade level code. Grade level code can be found under demographics, and we go down to grade. After that, we're going to be looking for our race and ethnicity codes. These can be found under demographics as well. We want the race for the feds, and then we want to know if they're Hispanic or not. So now we've got both of our race codes. The next thing we're looking for is free or reduced lunch. To find that, we go back to our EZReports, or I'm sorry, our Infinte Campus, and you're going to go to the FRAM tab, and then eligibility, and we want to know, just clicking if they're eligible for free and reduced. So that'll pull it over. This is one of them that you will need permissions for, so make sure that you have permissions, and if you don't, you can show this to your OIT person and they can help set this up and help generate this information for you. After we've found our free and reduced, we need our ELL kids, SPED, and GT. All of these are going to be found under the Learner tab and under Active Enrollment. And we're going to be using the state reporting and then our special ed elements. So the first thing that we need is we need to know what their English proficiency is. After that, we want to know what their special ed status is. And then the last thing that we want to know is gifted and talented. What we've done over here will now generate something that we can put into this spreadsheet, and it will fill in all of our fields that we need. However, there is three more things that we need to include to make this work right. The first thing that you need to include whenever you do an ad hoc report, you always want to make sure that you have your active today selected. These are all the students that are active today in those schools. Anytime you do an upload, as long as you have the active today, it'll pull in any new students to your school, to your district, as long as you're using the active today feature. The next thing that we need is going to be found under our census, and for some reason, and I don't know why, but you need to go to address or mailing address, and then we need to select, where is it at? Secondary. Okay. After you've selected that, we then need to do one more thing to get our report ready. Go back under your FRAM for our free and reduced, go to eligibility, and then we want to know our possible eligibility year. Where is that? I'm missing it. End year. Okay, that's when we want to know when all of this happens. I always do a save and test at this point, and so what it'll do is it'll pull up and you'll see a view of all the information that's available to you. Okay. So it'll have all of our information for all the kids that are at the school going back and forth. After we've done that, we go down and we'll click Next. And there's a few things that we need to include onto this. One of the things that you'll see over here, and I've done, and a lot of your MIS departments will add schools that really aren't schools to Infinte Campus just because it helps group students better. So down here you see special needs school. There's really not a special needs school in our district, but all the students that are identified as special needs are grouped in this school, and it just makes for easier reporting for our other departments. So you need to find out what schools are actual schools and which schools are these kind of fake schools that people have made up. And then under school name, we want to put them in, and our operator not in. Okay, not in these schools, because otherwise you get double ups, and we don't want to have any double ups. We can do another save and test. And we'll see that some of our things have been reduced now. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go down to address secondary, and we want this to be false. Okay. And then we want our possible end year to be equal to our current school year that it's going to end in. So this is 2013. After doing this, I'll do one more save and test. And now you see where we had 2 of these burgundy streets before, we're now down to just 1. This gets rid of all your duplicates and will make sure EZReports works for you. After this, you can go down to Next, and then this will be some outputs. That means what's going to show up. Well, I don't need active today to show up. I don't need mailing address secondary to show up, and I don't need the possible end year to show up. I do need the rest of these. One of the things that I do is you can sort these, put on what's going to be sorted first. I always put, when I have my student last names up here, I always put that as my number 1. So that way it sorts all my kids alphabetically. And then I go down to grade, and I sort that as number 2. So this would essentially be 2 here. And that way it's grouped by last names, and then it's grouped by grade level. There's no real reason that you have to do it. I just do it because I'm a little anal retentive. So So then once again, we now see that we have all of our kids grouped accordingly. One of the things that you do need to remember is that you'll have all of these schools up here. There's a feature that'll let you do all schools. Don't do it. It will make you have this massive upload list. More than likely, it's not going to be able to pull all your schools, and it'll end up timing out on you. And then when you upload it into EZReports, you have to break it down into different parts. It gets to be a mess. So what I suggest you do instead is find one of your schools, select it, and then you'll repeat this process next time when we do our extract. I'll show you how to do that in a second, where you're just selecting each school. Now that we've got this set up the way that we want, I'm going to save it one more time. So now we're good. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go to my data export. This is going to be how we get the information out to us. So you'll see that we have our students 21st century student upload demo. You select it, and then you're going to select your delimited values, which is your CSV format. And then you click export. We're going to open it up. And now this is going to pull up all of our information. It's going to be really ugly. Things aren't going to look great, but we don't care. All we're using this for right now is to get the information. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my entire table. Copy it. And now I'm going to go to my EZReports chart, and I'm going to paste. Normally I'm going to paste here because it's going to fill in that stuff that I took out, but for our purposes right now I just need to paste it here. Now I have all of this information that's inputted into the correct columns, and one of the things that I do, and it makes it a whole lot easier, is I want to turn this into a table. So I just go format table and pick a table. Yes, my table has a header. It'll say your school name and stuff like that. The reason for this is when we get through switching codes over with the EZReports codes versus the Infinte Campus, we're going to be looking for different numbers and sections. So the first thing that I told you we would do is under this school code, we need to change it from, I have East Memorial Elementary School, and I want to change that to East Memorial's code here, which is 2414. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to click in this whole row, highlight the whole row, because we're going to do a find and replace, which will make it a whole lot easier. So you go find and select is up here, and we want to replace. We want to replace with 2414. And what do we want to replace? We want to replace East Memorial Elementary School. And we want to replace all. So it's going to tell me it's made 605 replacements. That's every kid. So now I've replaced that, so I'm good to go. If you click on these little arrows, it'll show you what's available in those tabs. This will be handy when we're looking for blanks. EZReports does not like blanks, and it won't let you upload stuff that has blanks in it. So I don't need to change anything with my gender code. I don't need to change anything with my mailing address, my apartment, my city, state, zip. If you have anybody that doesn't have a phone number, you can give them a school phone number, because once again, this is acting as more like a placeholder. Now's where we start changing codes. Infinte Campus has a set of codes that they use to identify everything. EZReports has a separate set of codes. One of the things that you'll run into is having to transfer all of these and change them all. So what I try to do is, if you look on your master files, it gives you your language codes. So that's what we're looking at right now. So, okay, what is our language? Arabic, English, Spanish, Korean, Somali, Hmong, or what we have. It says leave blank for other. If you leave blank, it's going to give you an error in EZReports. So find a default language that you know you don't have a large portion of in your school, and for some of our other codes, use that instead. So for us, we have a very, very, very tiny Arabic population. So I use Arabic as my extra language code. So if you click on it, it'll show you all the codes that are being answered. Okay, 2 is going to be your English. 210 is Burmese. 370 or 1370 is Somali, and 1380 is going to be Spanish. Karen that they have listed is going to be 1035. So, and then I think that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and do, once again, select the whole thing, and I want to do a find and replace. So what do I want to replace? I want to replace all of our 210s with, and see, this is where it won't give me an option for Burmese. So I can either pick Hmong or I can go back to Arabic if I'm not sure. So 210s we're going to replace with Hmong. Replace all. Tell us we didn't have any. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I flipped that backwards. We want to replace 210 with Hmong. Now let's try that again. So I made one replacement. Most of the languages that aren't showing up, you're going to have smaller populations of, but you still will have populations of. The next thing that I want to replace is I want to replace my 1370s, which are Somalis, with an S. Oh, not with S, with M. S is for Spanish. M is our Somali code. Made 14 replacements. Then we want to replace 1380s with our S for Spanish, 335. And then the last thing is we want to replace our 2s with an E. And so now I'm going to double check, and I don't have any blanks, so I know that this is going to upload okay. Grade level, we don't need to change anything with our grade level. We do with race codes. So with race codes, I'm going to list these real quick, and then I'm going to go in the order that you kind of have to, otherwise you run into find and replace problems. So with Infinte Campus, a 1 is going to be a 1 in EZReports. In Infinte Campus, a 2 is a 2, and that's going to be replaced by a 6. An Infinte Campus 3 is replaced by an EZReports 4. Infinte Campus 4 is replaced by an EZReports 2. Infinte Campus 5 is a 5 in EZReports. A 6 in Infinte Campus is a 1 in EZReports. And a 7 in Infinte Campus is a 9 in EZReports. So this is kind of the order that you'll need to do it in. So I'll go find and replace. So the first thing that I want to find is I want to find all my 7s, and I want to replace them with 9s. It made 3 replacements. Then I want to go and I want to replace my 6s with 1s. After that, I want to replace my 2s with 6s. Didn't have any. After that, I want to replace my 4s with 2s. After that, I want to replace my 3s with 4s. And now if I click on it again, I still have some blanks. Okay, blanks are what we don't want in in EZReports. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect all, and I just want to select my blanks, and then click OK. So I have 4 blanks. Those are our unknowns, or our 9s. After I do that, I can go back, select all of them again, and now I have all my students on there. The next thing that we want is we want our ethnicity code. If in Infinte Campus, a Y means yes for Hispanic, and so what we want to do is we want to replace all of our Y's with an H. Infinte Campus says no, and EZReports also uses no as well. So we don't need to replace any of our N's. On our free and reduced status, we want to replace our F's with 1's. We want to replace our R's with 1's. And then we want to replace our S's with 0's. Okay. We'll double check, make sure we don't have any blanks. We look good. Now we're going to come over to our primary, our ELL. So the way it's set up in Infinte Campus is that, or for EZReports, anything that's over 2, so we have 2 and 3, are going to be U's. 0's stay as 0, 1's stay as 1's. So we're going to select this, we're going to go to replace 2 with a U. And then we're going to replace 3 with a U. Okay. Double check. We have 0's, we have 1's, and we have U's. That's what we need. We move over to our special ed status. And with special ed and with gifted and talented, anything that's over a 1 in Infinte Campus is a 1 in EZReports. So you'll see with like GT we have 2, 3, 4. All of those are going to change into 1's. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go find and replace. And I want to replace any 2's with 1's. Any 3's with 1's. Whoops. Any 4's with 1's. And I believe this goes up to 7, even though we don't have those in there. And so I just, normally when I'm doing this, I go through it pretty fast, and so I'm just going through to make sure that I have all my bases covered. So now we have our upload ready to go to fit into EZReports. You want to make sure that you save this someplace. And remember, you're going to have all of this filled in. Our upload's not going to work because it's not filled in, but just keep that in mind. One thing to remember is after you're done converting all of this, select your table header. It'll go all the way across. It's easier just to click on the row. And then go to Table Tools, and you want to click on your header row, and it'll delete that header row. If you have the header row on there, it's going to throw off your upload as well. So now I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm just going to save this one to my desktop. Continue. So the next thing that I do is I'm going to come back to EZReports. I'm going to browse. It's going to ask me what I would like to upload. Okay. Copy of our student data template. And then we upload the file. Now, you're going to see this not upload correctly because we don't have any of our student IDs or names or numbers on. And it'll throw up a big error message saying, whoa, you missed all this stuff, what's going on? So just keep that in mind. So let's do it with a real one that I have. That way you won't see any of the names that I have already. And you go upload, and you will start seeing it do this, and that's telling you that it's basically going through the whole process and uploading all your students into the whole deal. If you see it going all the way across to the side, that means you're going to have some errors somewhere. You shouldn't see this happen. You should only see a few kids coming over and staying on this part. It takes it quite a while to go through the whole process of students, so I'm not going to sit around and make you watch the whole deal, but it'll just keep going and going and going. And it goes all the way through. After you're done with that, when you go back to your sites, sorry, internet's being slow. When you go back to your sites and you try to register students, you'll start to see all those kids that you already uploaded now available for you to enroll into your activities or sessions in that spot. So that kind of concludes the whole deal. I hope that you found this informative. If you have any questions, my name is Josh Wainscott. You can contact me at jwainscott@greeleyschools.org.